Hello and welcome. It's another edition of Vision Sport 360 on WTV. I'm Austin Arome, here to take you on a journey on the world of sports. And talking about the journey of the world of sports, let's look at what we have for you today as far as the stories is concerned. We have the coach of the Super Eagles, Jose Peseiro, being lined up for a job in Algeria as the FA chairman of the Algerian national team. Is said to make a decision as to who will become the coach of the Desert Forces. So we have detail of that for you later on the show. We also have detail of what happened at the NBA All-Star game between the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. We also have stories coming from the Champions League action. No, Champions League action will be taking place today and tomorrow. And for tonight, we have two games that will be played. And then we also have the English Premier League match between Manchester City and Brentford. We'll take a look at that story. Also, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, have actually announced that they've reached agreement with FIFA to hold the 2024 African Cup of Nations in the summer, unlike what we have this year. The African Cup of Nations was held in January. But in 2025, it's going to be a different ball game. Now, also, we have stories also that Nigerian national team, the Super Eagles, would take on the Albi Celeste of Argentina in a new friendly that will hold in the United States. All this and more we're going to talk about right here on the show Vision Sport 360. But before we do that, we'd like to go on a short break, and when we come back, we have so much to talk about right here on the show. All right, welcome back to the show Vision Sport 360 on WTV, and we're starting from the home front like we usually do. And starting from the home front, we start with the um, news that the coach of the Super Eagles, or should I say the former coach, because his contract with the Super Eagles has expired, and he's waiting to get a new contract from the NFF. While he's waiting for the contract, there's also news that the all desert forces of the Algeria are in search for a new coach, and according to reports, the Algerian Federation already reached out to Jose Pizarro, and is already considering whether to move in to join the Algerian national team or stick with the Super Eagles. But then he has to wait for the contract from the NFF first to decide whether he's going to stay as the coach of the Super Eagles or to move on to coach the Desert Forces of Algeria. As I was discussing with a friend of mine yesterday, and we're talking about whether to continue with Jose Pizarro or we should actually allow him to join the Algerian national team. I think we have different opinions. Some people actually are saying that we should let him go. That he's playing negative football. He does not play the kind of football that Nigerians are actually looking for. Why some are of the opinion that why change the coach well the system is working for the team. You cannot actually move from one and you're counting 100 immediately. That you should allow the coach to stay so as you have that continuity. Having said that, there's also the fact that Jose Pizarro is not the only manager that is being considered for the job in Algeria. there's also former Switzerland manager Vladimir Pikovic, who also received an offer from the Algerian Football Federation. So we'll continue to keep you posted as far as the development continue to unfold. Is Conor going to continue as the coach of the Super Eagles, or is going to join the Desert Forces of Algeria? That will come to you once we have updates coming from that the camp of whether Genetro or the camp of the Algerian Football Federation. Moving on, let's talk the NBA, where we have Damian Lillard of the Milwaukee Bucks, Tyrese Haliburton of Indiana Pacers, and Jaylen Brown of Boston Celtics combined for a 107 points, and the East beat the West 211 to 186 points in the NBA All-Star Game 2024 on Sunday night. This is actually an update that we tend to bring to you from the NBA. Latest statistics coming from the NBA is that this is the first time in NBA history that an all-star team in the NBA history will score over 200 points. Lillard became the second player ever to became the second player ever to win the most valuable player award after Michael Jordan was named in 1988 Slam Dunk champion and All-Star Game MVP. So Lillard, replicating that feat achieved by Michael Jordan in 1988. Also, Karl Anthony Towns of Minnesota Timberwolves led the Western Conference with 50 points and 8 rebounds. Also on the night, we have McCollum earning a perfect score of his first dunk, defeating Jaylen Brown to a repeat of as the AT&T Slam Dunk champion, while 10 times NBA All-Star Stephen Curry beat WNBA's Sabrina Ionescu in the first ever NBA versus WNBA 3-point challenge at the 2024 State Farm All-Star Night. It's actually an interesting night, as you all know. We talked about it previously. And, also talking about the Africans that were involved. We did talk about that sometime on the show, that we're going to have about 7 Africans involved in this NBA All-Star this season. And looking at the African players that were in the team, we have the likes of Bam Adebayo, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo, we have also the likes of Thierry Seck from Senegal, we have Boubacar Sane, who is of Senegal, that took part in the NBA G League. Also we have Karl Anthony Towns. We have quite a number of them who participated in the NBA. When you're looking at the NBA right now, we have quite a lot of Africans playing in the NBA, especially Nigerians. I think I can't actually give you a figure, but I know quite a number of them. The likes of George Okoje, the likes of DeAndre Ayton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Bam Adebayo. We have Zeke Naji, we have Isaac Okoro. Quite a number of them playing in the NBA, and the list actually continue to swell every season. Even last season, we had a Nigerian who was drafted into the NBA, during the NBA draft. So it's actually an issue of success stories for Nigeria as far as the NBA is concerned. We'll take a short break right now, and when we come back, we'll take a look at what's happening in the world of football tonight, especially in the Champions League and in the English Premier League. Alright, welcome back to the show. It's still the Vision Sport 360 on Wonderland TV. Now let's talk about football, starting from the English Premier League. Manchester City will be taking on the Brentford tonight. It's actually going to be an interesting one. Manchester City actually dropped points in their hunt for fourth consecutive English Premier League title against Chelsea last weekend, and they'll be looking to make amends against Brentford tonight. And how it's going to happen tonight is going to be actually a surprise. It's going to be an entertaining match to look forward to. Manchester City, as a matter of fact, at this point of the season, every year this is when they kick on, and it seems like they were on that run up until Chelsea gave them, should I say, a shocker, because going into that game everybody expected Chelsea to lose, but then that didn't happen. Chelsea gave a good account of themselves in that particular game. Will Brentford actually do the same to Manchester City? Because looking at Brentford, I feel like they are a stronger team than they were as at last week or even a week before, because they have a bulk of their players coming back from the AFCON. Have Bemo, who was injured, for Brentford. I have Ivan Toney back in the team. Even our own Onyeka, who was at the African Cup of Nations, is already back in the team. We have Wissa, who was also at the African Cup of Nations with Congo, played up till the semi-final level, back in the team now. So that you have a very strong Brentford team. Will they actually get a shocking result against Manchester City tonight? Is something that we're all looking forward to tonight, because it's going to be an interesting one. Manchester City will be looking to close that gap, because I know they have a game in hand. If they can win tonight, it means that they're going to close the gap between them and the table toppers Liverpool to 1 point. And Liverpool will be playing tomorrow, by the way. I will come and talk about the game. Liverpool are playing against Luton Town at Anfield, so it's going to be a whole new experience altogether. So everybody's trying to get that result at this point. Manchester City trying to get the result, Liverpool trying to get the result, even Manchester United as well. I think in recent times, they've proven that they can hold their own. Four consecutive wins for Manchester United, putting that pressure on the top four race. Talking about those that are in the top four race: Aston Villa, Tottenham Hotspur, and even Manchester United to a great degree. So actually, from the top of the table down to the top four, I think it's actually a battle. That everyone will say a battle of the ages, because we've never seen this kind of competition in the English Premier League. I think it was such a long time that we've seen this kind of competition play out as far as the English Premier League is concerned. Now let's switch gears. Now let's take a look at what's happening in the Champions League. Also tonight, Inter Milan will be taking on Atletico Madrid, while PSV Eindhoven will be taking on Borussia Dortmund. And looking at how this game is going to pan out, this is actually the knockout stages of the UEFA Champions League. Inter Milan against Atletico Madrid. Inter were runner up last season, and it seems like they have found a way to stay consistent, especially within the Italian Serie A, winning that last season's Serie A championship, going all the way to the final. Even though they lost some key players, at one point in time, some of those players that they brought in have been able to fill in that gap. Talk about Martinez stepping up to the challenge. Scores, now scoring more goals, despite the fact that they lost Lukaku last season, who was actually part of, should I say, one of the key figure in that particular team. They also lost Onana to Manchester United, who was also an important factor in their run to the UEFA Champions League final. So it's going to be an interesting one. Will they be able to win against Atletico Madrid tonight? Because this is where it starts. Will they be able to win against a very stubborn Atletico Madrid? Atletico Madrid, by the way, they're one of the most stubborn teams to play against, especially in the Champions League. But this season, they've not been playing particularly well, especially in the La Liga. And, it seems like they've changed their way of play. They're more no longer the pragmatic kind of football that was being played before. They're now more attacking, fluid. There's fluidity in their game, and it's actually a different Atletico Madrid this time around. So we're looking forward to that game between Inter and Atletico Madrid tonight. And the other game between PSV Eindhoven and Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund, for me, one of the most disappointing team, in my own opinion, as far as Europe is concerned. This season, they are not in the race for the German Bundesliga. Each time you see them play, they are not always consistent. Will they be able to actually hold their own tonight and get that win against PSV and even though they are playing away from home? Because PSV, despite the fact that they're playing at home, will be the underdog in this one as they take on Borussia Dortmund in the UEFA Champions League tonight. So we'll see how that pans out, and we'll come back here and give you the results hopefully tomorrow, and let's see how things go in the UEFA Champions League. And talking about football, moving on now, is report. The latest report is that CAF, which is the Confederation of African Football, and FIFA, Federation of International Football, have reached an agreement to hold the 2025 African Cup of Nations in the summer. This is according to reports coming in right now. So the tournament, which is going to be held between the mid-July and August 2025, it's actually something very, very new to African football. The African Cup of Nations has always been held in January, as far as I can remember. So this is actually something new that will be coming to Africa. It's like an experiment, and the timing of this African Cup of Nations has always been an issue for most European clubs who have they have to be without some of their key players. So every time there's a Nations Cup, you saw how the body language of Liverpool coach and some of these club sides that have African players, and probably this will eventually solve that problem at the end of the day. And the argument for this tournament to be held in the thick of a European season. The last African Cup of Nations was held in the summer, which was 2019 edition in Egypt. Following the agreement that has been reached with FIFA and CAF, this will surely be a welcome development for most European clubs. Meanwhile, the qualifier for the African Cup of Nations will begin in March 2024, and with the preliminary round and Cote d'Ivoire, who recently won the African Cup of Nations against Nigeria 2-1. And also looking at the Super Eagles next, but then we have to go on a short break because we're going to talk about the Super Eagles friendly against the Albiceleste of Argentina. Welcome back to the show. It's the Vision Sport 360. Have such a little time to round off the show now as we talk about the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Super Falcons camp actually came alive earlier today following the arrival of 11 players ahead of the 2024 Olympic game qualifier against the indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon. Head coach of the Super Falcons, Radi Wardrum, and his assistants also arrived at the camp. Wardrum, who recently agreed a contract, extension with Nigerian Football Federation, and the American was last in charge of the Super Falcons at the World Cup. So it means that the coach is making a return to the national team. Also making a return to the national team will be Ashley Prompty and Alimatu Aide. These two players, not actually played with the Super Falcons ever since the World Cup. And according to Ashley Prompty, she said she had personal reason that she needed time to settle at a new club. It's Ashley Prompty recently moved from Leicester City to Al Ittihad in Saudi Arabia, and she's playing there now and moving to such an environment where you're not used to the environment. You have to get used to it, and I think that she's now feeling at home now. She's scoring goals even as a defender, and she feels like she can come back to the team at this point in time. So those who are in camp are Chiamaka Nadozie, the goalkeeper. We have Tochukwu Oluchi and Linda Jiwaku, as well as Akudo Ogbonna, among those that are already in the camp. Others are Rashidat Ajibade, Michelle Alozie, Tosin Dimehi and Rafiat Imran. There's also Abiodun Deborah and Ifoma Onumonu, as well as Gift Monday. 10 more players are still being expected in the camp. Nigeria will travel to Douala for the first leg of the third round of qualifying fixture on Friday. The two countries will clash in the reverse fixture at the Moshood Abiola Stadium. The following week, which is next week Monday, as the Super Falcons have failed to qualify for the last three editions of the Olympic. Hopefully, this time around the Super Falcons will qualify, because we have a very large squad. Excellent, talented pool of players that will actually represent Nigeria at this last round of the Olympic qualifiers. And that's about it as far as the Vision Sports 360 is concerned for today. We thank you, our viewers, for joining us today, and also to thank our production crew, for doing a very good job behind the scene. On behalf of us all, we say thank you and bye for now.